Hello, everybody. This is Steven from Simply Nerdy, and I am joined today by Anthony.
Hey, guys.
We are here to talk about Astral Chain, like we said we would last week, because we've been playing it for a week now, and holy crap, this game is awesome. And then after we touch on that, we're going to touch on the Direct that was also phenomenal. There's a lot to talk about, so let's just get into it, Anth. Why is Astral Chain so good? Go.
Me first?
You first.
Okay.
Yeah, you first.
Okay. So Astral Chain, it really, how do I put this? It manages to take all of the work that Platinum Games has done in kind of setting themselves apart as masters of the action genre, and then just kind of, I don't know. It feels like it's the next step to me. I haven't played a whole lot of their games, but I've seen enough to know that they they really hit it home with action games, and this one just really
Definitely no exception.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this very eloquently at the moment, but I think for me the thing was, at first when it was announced, I was like, oh, Platinum, okay, they're good at this stuff. I was cautiously optimistic at first, but the more news we got about it, the more excited I got, and I'm very pleased to say that though on paper it seems like it's a very simplistic system, at least for the action itself, it actually isn't, and it works really well. And I think the funny thing about this game's combat is that it can be very, very polarizing, because I've read a lot of reviews where people say, oh, this combat is just a button mashing charade, and it's just kind of paper thin, so not really great. And going into it, I realized that it's easy for you to allow the game to let you just turn it into a button masher, especially if you're playing it on the easier difficulties. But when you amp up the challenge, that's when you realize that no, this game's action system is supposed to be a lot deeper than it can be allowed to be. And I think it's all because of the legions and the ways that you can interact with them. Again, on paper, it looks like they're just an additional character that you just have as part of your team while you do your own thing. But the magic is the way that you can synchronize your attacks for very powerful dual attacks, and all these really cool just awesome little techniques that you can do that are both. I'm really not being very articulate right now.
No, dude, you're totally good. Like, I'm just gonna throw in there right now.
Okay, please,
because it's a good entry point. But even the things you can do with your chain.
Oh yes,
with your Astral Chain. Oh my goodness, it is so cool. The way you can counter, the way you can wrap up enemies, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can link. I don't know how to explain it. You can send your Legion forward around enemies, hit your attack button, and just fly to multiple enemies at once and plow through them. Like, it is really cool.
And then plus being able to like lock onto a specific enemy, call your Legion to you, and then send it out and pull yourself over to that. It allows for some really cool, fast-moving combat, and as well as like the battle management, because there's a lot of times when, say, you'll be surrounded by one enemy, and then you can just shoot yourself over to a different one.
It's so awesome.
I think and that's why I say this is so polarizing, is that on the easier difficulties you can literally just mash the ZR button, especially if you're playing on Unchained mode. I would presume, because I've heard a lot of reports that even casual can be a little bit on the easy side. But when you like allow yourself to be challenged by the game, by playing it on the harder difficulties, or even not, just still digging into the systems enough to realize that there's a lot more there than it appears on the surface, then it's honestly probably my favorite action game that I've ever played, and the systems are just so layered and so deep that it rewards skillful play as well as tactical planning. I feel like that's one thing.
I 100% agree. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think most. I feel like, and I haven't again played a ton of action games, but I feel like the majority of them, it's kind of like super fast reflexes and just wailing on the enemies in skillful ways, which there's plenty of that here. But I feel like if you were to just do that, you would get your butt handed to you, because the other part of the the game is kind of the management of a battle scenario. And if you master them both, then there's plenty here to reward you for for being tactical and skillful. I love it.
It's amazing. And I've heard some stories say the story wasn't amazing, but I have to say I'm actually kind of pleased with the story, at least so far.
Yeah, I'm not.
How you feel?
I'm not super far yet. I think I'm still on file 6 out of, I think there's 11. So
I just barely finished file 6, so we're about the same spot.
Okay, cool. So I'm enjoying it so far, and to be honest, yeah, maybe it doesn't like shake the foundations of fictional writing or anything, but.
No.
But I mean, why does it need to? I feel like a lot of people are way too jaded these days. Like, it just hits the normal story beats, and so I hate it. And it's just, okay, well, you know what? We don't need everything to be perfectly inventive.
Yeah.
And I think that for something that kind of retreads some familiar ideas, I kind of see this as like their version of the zombie apocalypse and what people do about that. That's a pretty commonly done story, but I feel like they kind of take a lot of creative license with that basic premise in a way that still makes it fresh and fun for me, and you know what, the story beats themselves, maybe there's nothing huge there either, but I honestly don't understand why people seem so willing to write it off, and I think that happens a lot, and I tend to take I tend to take a little bit less of a jaded outlook. Like if the presentation is excellent, which let me tell you it is, and
it's really good.
And if they manage to nail the atmosphere and everything, which I also feel like they did, then you know what, the story doesn't have to be the most amazing thing I've ever experienced.
Especially if they nail the combat like they did.
Like they totally did, yes.
You nail the combat, you nail the gameplay. The story is still there, and it's still satisfying, and the presentation is phenomenal. What else do you need?
Right. Yeah, well, I guess there's some people who feel they need more, and that's their prerogative. But
Shame on you.
For one, no, that's your opinion. We disagree. But I think overall, I really enjoyed the story. Loved the combat. I felt like one thing that surprised me is that for a while I expected the non-combat situations to kind of grate on me just a little, because for a system so complex and so rewarding, I want to spend more time on that. But then I realized somehow they managed to nail the investigative sections as well, and they're certainly less involved with regards to compared to the combat system. But I thought that I found myself strangely really enjoying those sections, and even heavens, even getting duty awards for picking up empty cans. I don't know why that's so fun, but
I don't know why that's fun either. But it's fun to pick them up and throw them in the garbage and just watch your money go. Woo!
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they managed to really put a lot of detail into even the minor elements of those, and so I really enjoyed that. And the sleuthing sections, that's really fun. For some reason, there's just something really satisfying about collecting a keyword. I don't know.
That's true. That's really good. I have to say, sometimes I did get a little stuck, a little stumped of where to go, and it was a little frustrating to wander around for a while and not find the next clue, or or not necessarily figure out what I was supposed to do right off the bat. But I guess that's part of the fun, right? Trying to figure it out. But sometimes it took me just a little too long. I don't know. You may make fun of me if you will, but it did get a little frustrating a couple of times, but not enough to ruin the experience by any means, because I still enjoy and love those investigative sections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think all told, I guess wrapping up my thoughts on the game so far, because obviously I haven't finished it, so I can't give a final verdict, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I pulled myself away from another game that I was enjoying to play it, and it sucked me in so hard that I put the other on hold. Because Astral Chain definitely took priority after how good I realized it is. So
just opening sequence.
Oh yeah, presentation oozing all over it. That's run of the mill Platinum games for you though. They do presentation and action mechanics like bosses. So
yeah, no kidding. So if you haven't played it yet or haven't picked it up or you're on the fence, jump over the fence. Go get it.
Yeah, seriously. I personally, right now, I would give it probably a solid 9.5 out of 10. I'm thoroughly satisfied.
I totally agree.
I think the main thing. The main thing that holds it back is probably the platforming sections. I don't think I've had
people have had problems with that.
I don't think I've had as many woes as I've heard some people have. But it's not great. And for me, my thoughts are, you could have solved this by adding in a Zelda-like ledge jump mechanic, and then even though those tiny sections. You don't have to use the chain jump every time. That would have been nice, but
yeah.
Other than that, I am just tickled with the game. So
you heard it here first. We give it a 9.5. Jump over the fence. Get the game now.
What? I'm curious.
Stop thinking about it.
I'm curious. Would you give it the same score? What would your rating be?
I would.
Personally?
No, I totally agree with what you gave it. 9.5 for me too.
Well, sweet.
Sorry. The way you put it was perfect.
So and
I don't have anything to add there.
There has to be a plug for the music. Epic as heck.
Oh, dude. Okay. Can I just... Yeah. Music. Okay. I, after 2 hours of playing, I went on iTunes and I searched Astral Chain. I was ready to buy the soundtrack.
It's not there, though, is it?
No, it's not.
Ugh, I think that's too bad. Hopefully they.
I was like, I want to use this music for our videos, and just to listen to as well. But yeah, nothing. So unfortunately, we'll have to see if that will eventually come over. But the music's phenomenal, guys. 9.5. Go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else to add there? Or are we ready to move on to the direct?
I think we're good to move on to the direct.
Okay, well, I have my standouts right here. Unless you want to.
No, you shoot. I started with Astral Chain, so now it's your turn to go.
All right, my turn to go. All right, here we go. We just mentioned 3 looks amazing, and I want that game right now.
I'm pretty excited for it myself.
Oh, man, it looks so good. Presentation also looks amazing. All the new modes. The 8 players, on the same console for, I forget what the mode's called. I even just did a video on it, and I don't remember what it's called. But they have a new mode where you can do 8 players on the same console, who can defeat the most ghosts, collect the most coins, or break the most targets. And they got the 8-player co-op with the Scarecraper. I remember that one. It just looks so good, and the single-player story looks amazing. Oh, let me have the game, okay?
Got
and then I have
to. Left.
I know.
Not too bad.
It's not too bad. It's creeping along. So also, Anthony, it looks like the Overwatch rumor was real.
Yeah.
The case was real.
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, there were rumors jumping around right before the direct saying, "Oh, it's been confirmed." And of course, I was like, "Well, nothing's confirmed till Nintendo says so." But I was not at all surprised to see it be their opening cinematic, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, dude, awesome.
So
It's a good get.
Go for it.
That's all I was gonna say. It's a good get for the Switch for sure.
Yeah, like we were saying last time, I feel like it makes a lot of sense for the Switch, and I don't know if I'm going to double dip or not. I've already got it on the PC, but I think that it makes a lot of sense, and I hope it does really well on the Switch. So
I actually never played it, so I might end up picking it up.
Uh-huh.
I don't have it on any platform, so I never touched it. So this might be my time.
There you go.
The other one that stuck out to me was, of course, the Banjo-Kazooie drop. Dude, the same day drop. It was the same day drop.
Yeah, they do that a lot these days.
I love it when they do that. I love it. Do it some more. It was so nice. And then they announced Terry Faces the Fury, is what they called it.
Terry Bogard.
Now I don't. Yeah, I'm not a big Terry guy. I don't really know who he is. I know.
Yeah,
I know who he is, but he's so obscure and not necessarily one I was looking forward to. I guess that's where that female character, not so thing was coming from. But it wasn't female. But
no. But I guess maybe the disappointing to
there.
some thing. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be kind of cool. I mean, I guess I'm only doing that based on like the character design, but who knows? You know, I imagine that he'll be a fresh addition, and the Sakurai will find a way to make him a fun character. The thing that
for sure.
The thing that made me happy though, because like when I heard that one, I was like, well, okay. I mean, I'll take him. But I was thinking, you know what? Now we've only got one more character slot, and this isn't necessarily someone we wanted. It's not, as far as I know, one that was popularly demanded. And so I'm like,
That's
now
exactly
we've only got
what I
one more
thought.
slot. Are we going to get one that we actually have been requesting? And who could it possibly be at this point?
My thought was the female character. I thought it was going to be Toadette.
Oh gosh,
Toadette for the last one.
Yeah, I still don't want that to happen.
Me neither.
No, but so it made me really happy and gave me a bit of a case of the giggles when he confirmed that more characters beyond the initial 5 that were announced or planned are going to be coming. So that was a big moment.
Dude,
and I'm like, yes,
dude.
okay.
So that moment right there is the moment where I was a bad boy. All right. I was watching the YouTube presentation on the job. Okay. So sorry. But, anyway, I was watching it, and that part happened, and I literally screamed out loud in the middle of the production floor.
And then you got in trouble.
And yeah, my boss walked over. He's like, "Hey, where you? Put your phone away. Hey, what did they just announce?" It's like, more DLC fighters, and then we both geeked out for like the next hour of who we thought they'd bring over. But yeah, dude, I was so happy. Like, yeah, it was bad. I got in trouble, but it was good.
Yeah, well, that was definitely one of the highlights for me.
Oh man,
and it
sure.
gives me hope that maybe we'll start seeing, like. If they didn't really announce any limit on the future, so who knows? Maybe they'll be able to end up pleasing not everyone, but a lot more people. Well, what I was going to say is it makes me wonder if this is an indication, because we've talked in the past about how we feel like the future of Smash Bros is unsustainable by continually releasing sequels that are massively more bloated than the last. I mean, that's just not sustainable anymore, I think.
Nope.
And so for me personally, this almost seems like it could be, in a way, a preliminary confirmation, not a confirmation, we'll not call it that, a preliminary hint that maybe they do intend to just continue supporting Ultimate. And honestly, I think that's the best thing that could happen to Smash.
I 100% agree.
I mean, heck, when they re-release it on the next Switch, whatever it is, maybe they could give it a graphical touch-up. I mean, World of Warcraft has seen that plenty of times, so why not this?
Yep.
I really think that's how they should do it. But anyway,
World of Warcraft style.
That's beside the point. It's awesome that we're getting more characters, and that made me really happy.
Amen. And then right after that, Ant, I'm pretty sure it was right after that, we got the announcement of the Super Nintendo games coming to Switch that very next day.
Yeah.
With like 20 plus games. Maybe it was 20. I don't remember. It was about 20 games.
I think it was 20.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Whoa.
Finally getting SNES games.
I'm about to get the gravity suit in Super Metroid already.
Oh, dang. You've been playing it a lot. I mean, I guess it's not a particularly
I've been
long
switching
game,
off
but...
between that and Astral Chain. Oh, dude, it's just been so nice. I love it. Thank you, Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Throw the dog a bone. You threw it. We ate it. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm glad that... I mean, a lot of the games they released apparently were kind of iffy, but I'm glad that at least some of the greatest ones on there they put out. Namely, Yoshi's Island, A Link to the Past, and Super Metroid. I honestly feel like those latter two titles... Oh, and Super Mario World. Yeah, definitely. But I feel like those last two titles, particularly Super Metroid and A Link to the Past, are two of the greatest games ever made. I honestly... might put my money on Super Metroid. There's just something almost perfect about that game. I never get tired of it.
Same.
Anyway,
I can play a game for hours. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, I mean, there was a lot of other minor detail. Well, no, there was some bigger stuff. There was a lot of kind of the sizzle reel stuff that they talked about that was kind of fun. One of those that kind of stood out to me that I'm getting more interested in is Daemon X Machina. That's looking increasingly better.
Yeah.
I was also surprised, you're going to have to maybe give a little bit more detail on this yourself, but I was kind of surprised by how interesting they made Animal Crossing look to me.
Anthony, yes!
I've never been interested in Animal Crossing, and I think the reason for that is that I tend to like narrative-driven games with a start and an end. So even then, it's still gonna have some work to sell me, but like the crafting system seems genuinely interesting. And
yes, I'm sorry, I'm really happy right now, guys. I'm like literally jumping up and down. This is a big moment for me. I've been trying to convert him to this game for years.
Well, don't count your eggs before they're hatched yet, but maybe maybe this is one I could play with my wife too, so that would be fun.
Oh, dude, it'd be so much fun. And we can play together, 8 people at the same time. Okay, but can I just say, that game, first of all, the graphics in that game look phenomenal. And the breeze in the trees looks amazing. And the game looks so incredibly polished that I am frustrated they didn't move the release date to fall. I was like, why are they showing so much footage just to say, March 20th still, 2020? I was like, dude, you got my hopes up. They had like 3 minutes of straight Animal Crossing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then March, and I was like, but it looks so good. What could you possibly be polishing? I mean, I'm glad you're taking the time to make it the best Animal Crossing that we've ever had. Thank you so much. And it looks like it's going to be phenomenal, and it will be the best Animal Crossing, at least in my book. It looks like so many customizable options. But please, why? Okay, I'll be quiet now. I can make a whole video about why I can't wait anymore.
I think that same day, like, Banjo drop might have primed you in the wrong way for Animal Crossing. I feel like that would have been.
That might have been it. That might have been
a little bit too much to hope for.
And the Super Nintendo, I was like, I know, but I tried not to get my hopes up. But I let it grow.
I can understand though, and it looks like it's the only Animal Crossing that has managed to catch my eye at all. So that says something in and of itself.
Cool. I hope I can get you to play with me.
We shall see. But I have to say, so speaking of pipe dreams, and this might have to be the thing we end on. It's running short on time here, but speaking of pipe dreams, the one that really got me, and mind you, this whole direct, to me personally, there was a lot of stuff there that wasn't for me, and that I may never touch, but I was pleased with just how polished and savvy the whole thing seemed, and I just love how Nintendo has been so solid on that lately. But for me, like, the thing that just made this like the ultimate direct, like the only other directs that have made me this happy were the ones that announced Zelda Breath of the Wild 1 and Breath of the Wild 2. It was that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition release or announcement. So
that was the last one on my list. Yep.
Let me just give you some context for how big of a deal this game is for me. I was there. I didn't participate in it, unfortunately, and now I kind of wish I had. But I was present for the whole Operation Rainfall drama, where there were these games that weren't going to be released stateside. They were just going to be kept to Japan, and that was one of them was Xenoblade Chronicles. And I remember just really hoping that this effort that was being put in by Operation Rainfall would be successful, and we'd get these good games over here. And I think I remember following the news a ton back in those days, and just not being sure that we could hope for much, that it was just a huge pipe dream. But eventually it came through, and all three of those games, Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, and Pandora's Tower, eventually they came stateside. And so I was particularly interested in Xenoblade Chronicles, so picked that one up day one, and I was not sad that I did it. Let me just, because I could talk and talk and talk about this game, but you know what, maybe I'll save those comments for when the definitive edition releases, and then I can just hash it all right there.
And he'll have to talk me into playing Xenoblade, and I'll talk him into playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can...
This is a game that I have to play. This is the time I have to play it. I think this is what will get me to play it. This is a definitive edition.
Yes, I just need to... I've been working... So Steven's been working on making me no longer an Animal Crossing heretic, and I, on the flip side, have been working to make him less of an RPG heretic. So I guess...
That's true.
Maybe we can cross both bridges and shake hands in the middle. But anyway, anyway, let me just say, in short, Xenoblade Chronicles is probably the best JRPG I have ever played. And there's many reasons why. I'll just lay them out in short order. Admittedly, it's not because of the graphics. Even for a Wii game, they were kind of rough, but that type of thing that's not really important to me. And in pretty much every other area, that game just positively nailed it. The story, let me tell you, we were talking earlier about Astral Chain not having one of those groundbreaking stories. Well, Xenoblade Chronicles, now that one does. And that story just was a joy from start to end, and that honestly is one of the most important things to me. The combat is amazing. I know there have been some refinements that have been introduced by subsequent Xenoblade games, but honestly, I prefer the first. And maybe that's nostalgia talking, but the vision premonition mechanic, whatever you want to call it, is one of my favorite things ever. Just super fun. The music is incredible. The world is a joy to explore. Anyway, this is
those last two.
This is all just backdrop for my reaction to the announcement in the direct. So now that you understand how invested I've been in this game from the very beginning, when I saw that opening sequence where it showed the waterfalls and then the first few notes of the opening theme of Xenoblade Chronicles, my reaction was completely visceral. I first of all gasped involuntarily and then screamed at the top of my lungs. Like it was the least control I've ever had. Because, first of all, it was a complete surprise. I had no idea this was coming.
That's awesome.
And I've been wanting it and wishing for it.
Thank you for not leaking that, because, for real.
that
Thank
was
you
a
for not
treat.
leaking.
That was a treat for me. I was so shocked, so excited, and then to see that it's not just a port, which would have made me extremely happy as it is, but a remake, a remaster with content added back in. That last segment was showing that the previously cut area of Bionis' left shoulder was added back in. So new content. Who knows what else that they're going to add in? Hopefully they don't change too much because the base game was already near perfect as it was. But like when I saw all that, I just about lost my mind, and it's still gone somewhere. Probably ran off to 2020.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure. Yeah, and that's the reason why I think now's the time I need to pick it up. Just knowing that there's more content in there, and it's a remaster, not just a port. That looks way better than the Wii version.
Yeah. So let's just
way better.
The graphical upgrade does a lot for the game because, again, personally, I don't care about that kind of thing. I mean, if it's, a lot of people would call Xenoblade Chronicles, the original's graphics, like distractingly bad, and you know what? I can see where they're coming from. Completely unimportant to me. Still, the fact that it's such an incredible game, even despite that, is something to its merits on just even on that grounds. But to have that polished up so nicely now, and then new stuff added in on top of it already being a near perfect game, kaboom!
And portable.
Okay. So
not the 3DS version. Okay.
No.
But this is true console level gaming
portability. Yes.
Oh, dude, it's not the same thing. Sorry.
So ready. So.
There you have it, guys. We loved the Direct. Love Astral Chain.
Fortunately, that's what can tide me over. Good games like that and so many others that are still coming out. Mm-hmm. But thank you, Nintendo.
So much to look forward
and
to.
Thank you, Monolith Soft. You guys are amazing.
Yes. Praises to you.
But yes, very excited, very happy.
You all delivered. Very well, except for Animal Crossing. But we'll try to figure you
Steven. I think that might have just been you.
All right, I'm making a video. That's it.
But it's still looking great. Everything, the future's looking great. It's a great time to be a gamer. That's
a very expensive time to be a gamer too.
True, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Same.
If it's expensive because it's amazing, then bring it.
Bring it on, boys. All right, well, Anthony, do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
No, sir. I think that covers my thoughts for now.
Awesome. Well, if you guys like this video, please like it. And please comment. We need comments. Please
And
give us
subscribe.
what you were... Oh, we need subscribes too. Subscribe as well, please. It really helps us out. And if you liked anything in the Direct, or if you're playing Astral Chain, or if you're still on the fence, let us know. We'll talk you into it. Believe me, we will respond pronto, and we will,
help you understand why it's a glorious game.
There you go. Thank you, Anthony. That's exactly what I was looking for. All right. Well, until next time.
Keep it nerdy.